Most commercial agriculture follows a simple, predictable logic. You look for flat, water-rich river basins, plant a high-yield crop, and pump out a massive volume of affordable, everyday commodities. But in the remote northwestern corner of Duck Province lies a place that actively resists that logic. This is Easup. It's a rugged borderland pressed against Cambodia, defined by roaming herds of wild elephants, severe dry seasons, and the highest accumulated heat anywhere in Vietnam's Central Highlands. This map shows the river systems of Vietnam. Notice how almost every major waterway drains eastward out into the ocean. But the Sarapoke River, the lifeblood of Easup, does the exact opposite. Instead of heading to the coast, the Sarapoke pushes entirely inland, flowing westward straight into Cambodian territory, before eventually making a massive detour to the Mekong Delta. Locals call it the river that flows backward. Yet out of this punishing landscape comes an unexpected harvest. These overflowing baskets hold the Chong Phong F1, an extremely potent, highly coveted chili pepper. In Easup, the harvest thrives in direct contradiction to the landscape. A region defined by a backward-flowing river and a punishing, sun-scorched climate is now outperforming the nation's lush deltas, producing a crop that commands top-tier export prices. To understand the harvest, we have to look closely at capsaicin. We usually experience it as a flavor, that sharp heat hitting your tongue. Biologically, however, capsaicin is a highly evolved defense mechanism. Easup subjects crops to intense environmental hostility. The temperature swings drastically from scorching daytime highs to much cooler nights, while the soil remains incredibly dry for months on end. This graph illustrates the biological response. As environmental heat and dryness peak, the stressed plant enters survival mode, rapidly scaling up capsaicin and internal sugars. This forced chemical reaction creates serious heat, routinely hitting 100,000 Scoville heat units. And that heavily concentrated heat carries tangible medicinal properties. Capsaicin helps reduce LDL cholesterol, boosts metabolic rates, and blocks joint pain. Easup's environmental hostility provides the precise biological engine required to engineer a superior fruit. But heat alone doesn't create an export-grade product. Because Easup is so remote, it has largely escaped industrial pollution. The soil here is a blank slate, wild, pure, and untouched by heavy industry. A local agricultural cooperative known as HTXGNES recognized the value of this pristine land. They plant the resilient Chang Phong seed, which yields continuously for up to 8 months, and they strictly refuse to use chemical fertilizers or synthetic pesticides that would contaminate the soil. By adhering to natural inputs, the cooperative achieved organic certification in Vietnam and, more critically, met the notoriously demanding JAS standard for agricultural purity. The cooperative's success stems from a strategy of preservation. They protect the soil's raw purity, satisfying the demands of elite global markets by keeping the borderland's natural chemistry intact. This chart compares the economic payoff. A standard mass-produced chili typically sells for around 40,000 dong per kilo, but an organically certified pepper grown in the harsh borderlands fetches a massive premium, surging up to 120,000 dong in a strong market. That premium is driven almost entirely by overseas demand. Buyers in Japan and South Korea are highly motivated by the strict JAS certification and the clean, untouched profile of the Easup soil. However, relying entirely on a hostile environment comes with severe risks. The intense dry season that forces the peppers to produce so much capsaicin can also lead to fatal water shortages, threatening the entire harvest and making yields highly volatile. To mitigate this volatility, the local government has a clear objective. By 2026, Dak Lok aims to establish hundreds of tech-enabled agricultural cooperatives, linking farmers directly with corporate supply chains to ensure financial stability even when the weather turns vicious. As global temperatures rise and rainfall becomes less predictable, agricultural success will depend on identifying the specific crops that thrive on stress, converting a region's geographic limitations into a high-margin, export-ready specialty.